else, but it's not an extension of us. Bro, that's something totally different. Mtu pia akona njia yake. Why are you trying to stifle Kenya anafanya? Kwani hauko unajua Kenya unampatia? You knew this guy at one point. Umempata juu ya hii na hii na hii. You've been working towards this and this. Why now are you putting doubt in yourself? Nugget. You are not doing things understanding that they need to be done. That is basic. Now, when you start to realize that something else is trying to be pushed and marketed to you, you are at a point whereby you are either in fear or you're okay. As in, hata ikikuja, I've done what I needed to do. Napata? I need to move forward. Kwenye dizo yuko. Kwenye uko, pia wewe uko place ya, wacha nichukue kitu. You might have forgotten why you got this child. You need to refresh. Napata? Because if you're doing the basics, then your child shouldn't be thanking you. As in, daddy is daddy every day. Mommy is mommy every day. Have you stopped being the mother?
But, okay. And that's why I said, I think you guys didn't listen to the kind of Nini that I was reading. I didn't say, it was just a day that has been put. But my message was even saying, it's an everyday thing. I even said, we're not just appreciating you just tomorrow. We appreciate you every day. So that's why Nasema, it's fine. I get it. But you're Nasema, like Kasa, I'm catching, like, if you really did listen, ungeshika. We're not just appreciating you just at it tomorrow. It's a thing, it's a daily thing. So the rabbit hole that mimi hata nitaingia ni the fact that sasa children are coming to the new constructs of parenting that are there. That is where now the rabbit hole iko. They understand the dynamics that are there. Because Nani, this was the same guy alisema.
But
single parenthood haijaanza jana.
But how are they learning? How are they learning that this even ndio tunafanya? Imetoka wapi? As in, see, parenting is see and do. Right? Yeah. If they are seeing and doing what you are doing, I mean, ungekuwa unaenda ile njia yenye nafaa kuenda. As in, vitu kama hizi zingekuwa zinawaface. Is the question that Dizo was trying to ask Nani Rafi. Can you call your dad any day na umwambie nakupenda?
And that's the thing. And you're nasema, you see, it also, you're coming from a place of you're limited. Probably you did not used to have to tell your dad every day such things. So ndio nasema, you see, for Dizo anasema, his father would be away. As long as anafanya his basics, hawako na hiyo relationship ya kuwa emotional na ati kuongea kuwa expressive. So you see, now that is why nasema he's in a place where I don't need you to tell me, because even his father hakuwa place ati walikuwa namwambia. So ndio unakuta there's a point.
No, I didn't say that, Karembo. I didn't say
that. Naoshe sema happy Father's Day.
Ni shy.
What was your motivation to say it?
Obligation. It was a holiday and I'm supposed to say happy Father's Day because
so it comes
I
from
can even
ignorance,
tell you this.
Because kama ni obligation, that's ignorance.
Na yule mtu mwenye alisema
it's the same thing, Karembo, you have done. Whatever you have read is not genuine from you. You've gone and copy pasted from somewhere.
Unajua umemuuliza, ushaisema happy Father's Day.
Is it ignorance or not? You understand? Like amwezi kuja museme ati okay. The reason for alafu, here's the beauty about self-awareness. There's no one who's better in self-awareness. Because that's why I always insist, just start the journey. Because everyone has their own way. Now, the best way is once you started the self-awareness journey, then we can have a conversation on awareness. That, hey, you know what? Mimi na hizi holiday zone bamba because of this and this and this. Si ati, wewe kama hazikubambi watu wengine zinawabamba. Hiyo sasa ni conversation gani? How progressive or constructive is that conversation? So when I told you there's nothing I got from it, you copy-pasted that message. It didn't come from you. If you really appreciated us as parents, you would have been telling us every day. We do meet every week. You don't do it. So we are all doing this thing out of obligation. But if we start doing things out of alignment, then you'll be thanking people every day, ama any time that you feel like, hey, hapa nimeona come through.
It's an everyday thing.
So It's an everyday thing. Like
Lakini ukithank
every holiday
mzazi
we have.
everyday si itakuwa kama sasa hiyo ndo obligation sasa.
Sasa hapo ndio
Sasa unaona venye wewe umeiget. Sijakwambia Rafi uifanye kila siku. Nimekwambia unaweza ambia mzazi wako any day hiyo kitu, or even every day, depending on venye, kama ni alignment venye wewe una feel at that moment. You know, if today, if Rafi, let's say every day you feel like your dad has kama tuseme kuna ile age fulani sisi wanaume tunafika that una realize enyewe budangu hapa aliniokolea na nilikuwa namchukia na enyewe hapa kuna times zenye hizo vitu zinaweza kufanyika. Kuna time hizo vitu zinaweza kufanyikia 1 week mfululizo, a whole week they are just following up. You go do something and be like, if it were not my dad, enyewe this thing I would have failed.
Kabisa.
So can't you be thanking your dad the whole week and not feel like an obligation? Be like, hey, daddy, enyewe today, you know, today I went and did and this. You remember what you are telling me? Hey, ma, thanks. Hiyo imeisha. Next day kitu kingine happen. Oh, daddy, you remember when you can do it every day, or you can decide you go through the week and be like, hey, daddy, yeah, this week has been tough, but hey, there are things that you really came through for me. It doesn't need a holy, you don't need to be told when to thank someone. Now, the mere fact you are being told when to thank someone, there is the problem.
Hapo ndio agenda iko.
Hapo ndio agenda iko, meaning we are all just conforming.
So where are we breaking the new world order, bro? We are no longer in charge.
So, no, we have been, Rafi, enda kaangalie kwa YouTube, New World Order. When did that topic of New World Order begin?
Ilianza kitambo sana.
Bro, a long time ago. We have been on the New World Order all along. If people don't realize that, then go check which is the currency that is global right now, or has been global for the longest.
Dollar.
That currency is what New World Order is. New World Order is combining everyone in one standard. So we have been in the New World Order. We are studying whatever they are telling us to study. A lot of us are completing schools. We don't know even our passion, what our passion is.
We are communicating in a language of their choice.
We are communicating in a language of their choice. We don't even know. Most of us don't even know our mother tongue. So when we come and start trying and to manage a conformity, then where is the theme of embrace your darkness in the rabbit hole coming in? Because we haven't entered in the rabbit hole. Anytime we try to enter in the rabbit hole, we are forcing an opinion. We haven't even given our opinion till you forced me to give my opinion. I just gave a different perspective. So that's the beauty of self-awareness. Hakuna mwenye ako mbali ati mimi nimefika mbali. No, you can also start. Once you start approaching things with intention. You don't approach them with obligation. It can be as simple as you have to sleep at night. Maybe you are a night owl. Why do you have to sleep at night? Oh, I have to wake up early. If you are working from home, why are you waking up early? Simple questions that you can ask yourself that you have made a norm, yet you don't understand why you're doing them. There was a day I even said, sijilikuwa nikisema hapo at the podcast, when I said, if you question even about eating, you'll realize maybe you don't even need to eat thrice a day. You know, you'll realize maybe you just need to eat once, or you need to eat twice, or maybe you don't need to eat every day. It is all about mind shift. Now, can we address that mind shift? Then we all share notes. We all go into the rabbit hole whereby we don't know what we are discussing, but you are talking of something that you feel can work this way. Oh, this one, if let's say an alien came here today, what will you do? Ukuje uniambia, the aliens have never come here. So where is the conversation they are going? See, the conversation there is killed.
So
then nikikwambia, oh, you don't want to have this conversation, unaniambia, oh, you want to force your opinion. It is a change of perspective. It is not an opinion. I gave my opinion to Kianza nikisema about the holiday. I haven't felt shit about it, but I didn't say it is wrong to celebrate. Just acknowledge who you are. It's as simple as that. If you're immature, acknowledge, yes, I'm immature. Once you've acknowledged, yes, I'm immature, going forward, how do I address my situation? Is it okay with me moving on as an immature person? If it is okay, then yeah, go on being immature intentionally. If it is not okay, then no, work on your immaturity. But at least you are honest with yourself. You know, people always think when you're being rebellious to other people. When you're lying to other people. No. When you're being rebellious, it's because you're being rebellious to yourself. Then other people are seeing that rebellion and turning it. Now you're being rebellious to us. But if you embody who you are, if let's say you are a thief and you embody being a thief, people will celebrate you.
So in your world, Diesel.
But if you're a thief and then you're pretending you're a pastor, you're pretending you're a motivational speaker, people are going to catch up on you and call you a con man immediately.
100%. Hey, bro. Nimeona shida.
So that's where I was coming from. If we are to address about normal situations, bro, I deal with normal situations every day. So we have a normal conversation. Where have we challenged the normal conversation?
Unajua sasa hapo ndio kwenye kungekuwa na advertisement tungecheza.
Mpo?
Tuko, ndio nasema kungekuwa na masaa hapo tungecheza advertisement. Na sana inaendanga namna this.
Embrace your darkness in the rabbit hole hosted by Soft Life Dizo, the God, Askofu Papa Baiko, and Mama Kanisa Kamom Karembo. Produced and directed by Putuwine and Phantom Noir.
Can you hear us, Dizo?
Yeah, sasa nawasikia.
Oh.
Mnanisikia?
Nakusikia sasa. Unajua Dizo?
Yeah.
Kuna, how do I even put it now? If we look at egos and this conversation, kuna mahali inafika, and I heard you mentioning something like this. Hata unaiangalia ego ni nini? Do I need it? Because, bro, this conversation, and this is the difficult thing about this conversation, unapata mistake yako uko nayo, there's no time yati ya ku hapa tutafanya aje, there's no time, you already there with it. How bra hapa natoka aje? Because you don't want this shit to happen again, si ndio?
In fact, if you approach it like that, you come and realize everyone has a different approach.
Yes.
And the mere fact everyone has a different approach, then now that's where growth comes in. Because I'll give you a different approach based on the moment, not based on what I've known all along. You know, like, it's like when we want to talk about single motherhood, and then I challenge you as a single mother, know the role you played in being a single mother. If you approach that if you are to have an intentional conversation, then you look at the role you played, either the decisions you made, the state you are in while making that decision. I mean, you look at those and we'll address that. But if you approach it from a place of defense, you'll give your opinion, then you think everyone is giving the opinion. You'll be like, no, you think I wanted to be a single mother. It is that asshole that lied to me. Where are you holding yourself accountable? When we are talking about children, why are you giving your opinion about children, yet we can have an opinion about us? Which is fresh.
Bro, you know one day somebody very close to me was talking about and complaining about I wouldn't say it was complaining. Yeah, akisema ikae ni kama complain. Now I get the part you're saying. Hata hizo jokes hazifai kukua. Anakuambia, unajua nini? Manzi, kulea mtoto ni kazi ngumu. But it's okay. And me, out of the corner of my mouth, sijui ilitoka aje. Nikasema, bro, ni wewe uko unajua kupanga uzazi. Boda.
Huku umejipanga.
Bra, ilifukuzwa kwa nyumba.
Kuna zingine tunaambiwa wewe si mzazi. What do you know?
Because, I mean, how can you complain about something you did willingly?
But what if you look at it from a place of, they're in a place where they now actually understand what it takes to be that parent. And instead of you demonizing them at that point, probably they're in the same journey of coming to self-discover that through that ego, they became a parent without really understanding the maturity part of it. So they are in the process of where they are now learning to actually get to a place where they're more logical, not emotional about it. Think about it, because every...
It is okay, but it can be pointed out, right?
Yes, and
it
that's why...
Like Karembo,
hakuna uchungu.
If let's say you decide right now, useme by the way, enyewe mimi, I didn't know about this, but right now is when I'm knowing about it. And then, Baiko akwambie, okay, at least umejua hivyo. Now, can we go on with your stupidity? Will you be pissed off ama sasa tena bado utaendelea kujitetea iko? No, it's not. I am not in the position you are in.
Now,
because that approach, what you're saying is everyone should have their own opinion and it shouldn't matter to anyone. If I can decide and tell you your opinion is rubbish, it is okay. If you can't defend your opinion, now then I can crash it down.
Diesel, if before you say that if someone chooses to be bad, it should be bad fully. If someone chooses to live in a certain way. Na kama mtu amechagua kuishi ina maana venye unasema labda yeye anajidanganya kuwa anajifanya kuwa mtu mzuri, but that is his character. Maybe his character ni kuishi kama spy ama misrepresent who he is not. Unaona? Siyo pia it's part of someone kuishi vile amechagua kuishi.
Let me give you an example of that. There are people who become aware of their narcissism and they use it for manipulation very well. There are people who become aware of their empathy and they use it for manipulation, guilt tripping. You know, the problem me I'm having is if you have accepted who you are and then you want to defend who you are, then those are two contradicting things. That's cognitive dissonance.
How?
Because if you've accepted that, hey, you know what, me, I'm a narcissist. Anytime someone comes and tells you, hey, a narcissist are bad, you'll be like, yeah, man, well, me, I can tell you firsthand. Me, you play with me, I'll take you out. You know, like, as in, it's that now the conversation doesn't have to be an argument. It's all about accepting who you are. That's why I said, shadow working, accept your negatives. Those negatives that you're trying to suppress so that you can come out to be accepted, so that you can feel, you can belong. Those things that you suppressed for the fear of being alone. Remove all that. Stop suppressing them and be who you are.
Diesel, is the world, is our society, or are we really ready for everyone to just act out whatever darkness they have in them? Because if someone's darkness is to go and murder, how many people wamesikia mazee huyo msee lazima aende chini? If someone's darkness is to go and bomb, we have to have an inhibitor.
But no.
Even in the rabbit hole, there must be someone who comes uko ndani.
You see, kidogo Dizo.
I haven't refused about that.
Unaona, si kila mtu that can go on this self-awareness journey. Because being self-aware means also that you know the consequences. Because that is being intentional. Ni kama tuseme, ulikuwa unasikia kiu. Kunywa maji. Si kiu itaisha. Si ndio?
Kweli.
So, najua nikikunywa maji kama sisikii kiu, also kutakuwa na kitu itafanyika, si ndio? Ndio nimejaribu. Sana nakumbuka nikiwa mtoi, nilikuwa na kierere. So what I used to do, I used to rush from school all the way home kukula lunch. Na kuna best yangu ashainiambia, bro, ukifanya hivyo ile stitch takupata ukikunywa maji bila at least tumbo yako kukuwa ready for food.
Yeah.
Hautapenda. So this day I get home, nimetoka mbio from school to the kitchen. And I take a cold glass of water and drink it. Bra. Ile stitch ilinilima. Sijui ni stitch ama ni nini. It was like bro, nika tumbo imeshikana hivi all at once. Buda nikalala chini kwa floor. Sasa kutoka hiyo siku ni ngumu sana ungenipata nikikunywa maji baridi before anything happens. But if I go and tell somebody else that, he will not react to it at first. Ataifikiria kwanza. Alafu siku moja aseme, nijaribu ama nsijaribu. That is now being intentional. You know, nikifanya hii kutakuwa na hii. It is now that point. You are now, tunaongea about this in the context of parenthood or fatherhood to introduction to your son. Because Karembo also asked your question, Dizo, about now the daughter aspect. At what point do you introduce yourself to your son? That nakujua sasa, bro, even this is why I actually got you and you guide. Kwa sababu kuna context za introduction. Is it forced? And that's why we started. Is it voluntary? Umefanya ukitaka. At the same time, has it been mandated to you? Unaona watu wengine tutasema it is forced, but bra, mtu alikuwa anataka lakini vitu mingi zimefanyika. Sana sana legally. Madem sana sana you fall to this whereby you go with the child. Somebody wants bana, but kuna sheria pale hiyo inhibitor kutoka kujiintroduce. But you find also this person does not understand kwa nini anajiintroduce. Na ndio context ya ego yenye nani alikuwa anasema. So it becomes a push and pull thing. Now it is no longer about the child, it is about them. That is mandated. Voluntary ni ile you are walking. Even when you are not there, you are walking to a point that you know this is the right time to introduce myself. Hapo ndio kwenye self awareness I think inaingililia. Na kuna ingine ya forced. Umeshafanya makosa. Now that is normal. Umesha introduce kwa mtoto but hauko unataka. Now you have to perform. Now go back to the same context. Ni wapi unaelewa kenye unafanya? Because that is where we all are. This wako na opinion yake, wewe uko na yako, wewe uko na yako. But if you're going to have a logical conversation in a rabbit hole, then why did you do it?
Na, acha nikuulize. Ama let's talk about it. Juu pia nimeuliza maswali kadhaa. Let's just talk about it. Unajua kuna wase fatherhood ni choice, na once ukishachagua hawezi anza kusema nilifosiwa, nilijitakia. Unajua wewe as a conscious person umechagua kuwa baba. Umechagua kuwa baba ya watu. You know, before you do that, remember you are already in a rabbit hole. Juu lazima think about a lot of dark things. It's not a decision unamka kama umefanya, unaona? So even that decision itself is not simple when you choose to be a father. By the way, kuwa buda lazima uchague. Si ati ni kitu ati mandated. Watu 80 wanaweza kuforce, but hakuna mtu anaweza kufanya uwe father. Unaona? Lazima wewe, only you yourself can make yourself a father.
Based
of what you want, what you choose.
What do you want?
How do you become a father?
Kidogo tu. What do you want?
Skia, mimi si ati what I want.
What
It's
did you
already
want?
something that I am a father.
What did you want?
Kuwa kuwa father ni kuwa unachagua sahi. Me, I'm already a father. So that means that decision I've already made it long time ago.
Ndio nauliza aje? Why did you want to become a father?
That decision.
I made
But
it.
didn't you not guys say that
I made
the
it.
darkness
Unajua
Then
nini?
answer.
Unajua kwa nini?
Then answer. Why did you want hiyo chenye bali kwa nakuuliza, then jibu hiyo.
Why
If you made
you
that
want to be a
decision.
father?
Why did you want to become a father when you made that decision?
hiyo sasa ni kuuliza what drove me to be a father.
Yes.
It is a choice. It serves wacha hata purpose. Inanipatia morali ya kutake care of someone kutoka kizazi changu. You understand? So to some people that might not make sense, but to me, taking care of something that came out of me, whether it's a duty or whether it makes me happy, it's part of that worldview that I've built for myself. Unaona? Kuwa as much as msee mwingine anaweza chagua I will not be a father, unaona, because amechagua, na haijalishi hata koti ngapi zinakuita, as long as you as a man you decide that I am in the rabbit hole, I will not be a father, hakuna mtu anaweza kuforce. Lakini we mwenyewe ukichagua kuwa father, you are going to be a father.
So ndo nauliza aje, ulishasema you wanted to become a father.
Yes.
And raise a child kizazi kipya or something, sindio?
Mi nilitaka kuwa father because na feel kama zile lessons mimi sikulan neza fundisha mtu. Na neza fundisha mtu ambaye ni mtoto wangu.
Na akikataa kuzisoma?
Akikataa sa, that's the result stage. But we are not talking about results. We are already talking about healing. We are talking about now understanding yourself. So sahi to go in the initial stages. Sasa huko ni kwa results.
No, why you going to the
ngoja.
Tulisema we make the parent.
Ngoja kidogo kakangu. Kidogo tu wacha nilandishe. Ngoja nikueleweshe. Wacha nilandishe kidogo ngoja. Kidogo kakangu, wacha nilandishe kidogo tu. Ona, wewe kama mzazi sahi tunaongea about hii initial stage ya kujitambua na kujipatia self growth, si ndio? Ndio wewe ukijielewa unaweza kuwa a better parent to even the people who you are raising. So we are in the initial stages. Ukiniuliza whether hiyo kitu ikifail, now uko ni results, lakini hapa ndio kuna hitaji kazi hapa ambapo inaanza. I think hiyo ndo kitu unaongelelea, si ndio? In making yourself at the initial. Sisa hii kujitengeza
Kenye umesema you wanted to become a father.
Yes.
Because uko na wisdom mingi na kuna vitu zingine zenye
mingi. Na feel kuwa zile lessons ambazo mimi ningewish kupatiwa. Unaona? And I'm taking it as an undertaking.
Usitoke hapo.
Na uiachie tu hapo, siende mbali. Baiko amekuuliza vizuri. Mtoto wako akikataa kusikiza hizo vitu. So itakuwa you being a father was nonsense.
Huko sasa ni results, wakati this formula has been tried and tested na imetoa results za kuwa whatever I impacted haikuwork. But sahi kama vile umesema the rabbit hole yenye tunaingia sahi ni at the initial stage ya kuwa wewe lazima ujicorrect to be better at parenting, si ndio?
So sahi ni trial and testing.
Si ndio sahi. Ndio maana anasema you must work on yourself. Ama kweli.
So Rafi pia unakubali you became a father out of ego.
Out of ego. Because kwa life unaweza set tasks, whether they are driven by ego, by duty, by nini, but kila mtu akona purpose na tasks. Kama vile kuna mtu anasema mi career yangu nataka ifike mahali fulani. It's the same way some tasks can be ascribed towards a family. Na useme kuwa mimi nataka kukuza familia yangu. Look, tunaambiwaga sana Waluya huwa wanapata tuseme watoto wengi ndo watil the land, ndo maybe hata wakipoteza wengine wako sawa. They know out of 18 maybe 5 will succeed. And sindio, tunaambiaga pia Wasomali wanapata watoto wengi ku increase the number, it's part of their wealth. Hizo ni reasons zao, unaona? The same way you as a man you can have your own goals and tasks. Kuwa mimi goals na tasks zangu ni aje, mazena nataka familia ni raise hivi. Ndio maana unaambiwaga religion ya watoto wako maybe hiyo ni the olden day, lakini iliambia wewe ndio pastor kwenu. Kwa sababu gani? Wewe ndio unawa impact na zile lessons. Kama babako alikuwa Mkatoliki, ulikuwa na raise Mkatoliki. Not that we'll do that now because we have better knowledge, lakini as an individual you have goals. Mi nataka nini? Mi nataka kuraise ile kitu yenye nataka kuraise ile society, hivyo venye unasema tuna impact wase.
Is your child not an individual?
Sasa Rafi, unajua
sawa kuna yeye who he is, na kuna vile mimi as an individual nimeset target zangu na zitakuja mahali who he is and what I want zitadivert. Unaona kama wewe Dizo tuseme who you are.
Ngoja Rafi nikuulize. Wait. Because you're really avoiding something.
What am I avoiding?
Whatever you can teach your son, you can teach anyone, right?
Ni kweli.
Si ndio?
Ni kweli.
So why did you have a child?
Skia. But not everything can I teach everyone. Bro, whatever I can teach my son, I can teach anyone. But not everything I can teach my son neza fundisha watu wengine. Unaona? Siwezi fundisha watu wengine kuwa na compassion na mamake.
Kwa nini?
Unasikia? Nitakufundishaje wewe kuwa na compassion na mke wangu?
So lazima itoke kwako.
Na ikitoka kwangu kuna shida gani? That's where the rabbit hole is. Si lazima itoke kwangu, but ikitoka kwangu, if it is a task I have set for myself, ina shida gani? That's where the rabbit hole is.
Sasa ndio rabbit hole inaingilia hapa kwenye unasema hivi. I can teach. Sindio? But kuna shida.
Whatever I can teach my son, lakini, I can teach anyone else. But not everything that I teach my son neza teach anyone else.
Why?
Proximity. Unaona? My son or my daughter nitakuwa na proximity na yeye. The amount of time na spend na yeye might be more than the amount of time na spend hadi na maboys wangu. Sasa, ama the amount of lessons ama the amount of free time yenye neza spend na huyo na zile lesson nampatia might be more. Ama ile relationship ya parent na child might create a different atmosphere. Mi neza kuambia kama boys no neza kosa kunisikiza.
So you just want to project on your child?
Maybe I might. Some things as a parent you can project to your child. Juu hivyo ndo umeamua kumraise. Kama babako ni Muislamu, set up project Uislamu kwako na uvae kanzu. Na wewe unapiga dua.
Sasa Rafi, kwani tumefika hapa aje? Si tumefika juu wazazi wetu walikuwa wanatuproject.
Ndio hivyo. Ndio hivyo.
So why you repeating the same
ilikuwa mbaya. Kuna unaona hatujaenda si parenting yote ya wazazi wetu ilikuwa mbaya. Some failed, some
again. Unaanza kushift goalpost. Mimi nakuuliza tu vizuri. Hiyo chenye unafanya hiyo. You can do it to anyone. You can adopt a child. You can do to anyone. It doesn't.
But that's still parenting in the end of the day.
Si bado ni parenting. Hata nikifanyia kwa boys wangu na nimchange life, nimpige ma-advice.
Yes, ndio maana nimeuliza. So if hiyo ndo parenting, meaning si lazima ukue na mtoto. You can get it, you can do it to anyone.
Lakini kuwa na mtoto ni kutaka yani. I'm talking about.
So it is out of ego. It has nothing to do with the child.
No, not everything.
Ngoja. Ndio nikwambie kwa nini ni out of ego. You know what uncertainty is? Uncertainty ni ujui venye kesho iko, si ndio?
Ni kweli.
Yeah. So wewe umeiweka that mimi mwenyewe nimeleta mtoto, kuna vitu mimi nataka I share with my child. Na I can share with my child considering the bond I have with the mom. Si ndio?
Hata with the child. Hata with the child.
It has, yeah, okay. So Baiko akakuuliza a simple thing which has nothing to do with results. It has everything to do with embracing uncertainty. What of if huyo mtu asipokusikiza? So your parenthood itakuwa imeenda hivyo bure.
Siko sawa, because at the end of the day si kila formula utafanya yenye italeta zile results unataka. And this is the reality of the rabbit hole. That neza inge huko ndani, but it doesn't mean itatoka. It's the same way. You can't not do something because you fear ati itakuja leta bad results or uncertainty. Lazima ufanye. Ni 50-50 itawaka, ni 50-50 itaface.
Wacha nikuambie kwa nini. Hata chenye unasema tu hiyo bado. Uwezi sema ati si lazima ama ati ni sawa. What you are trying to talk about here is the same thing that our parents did. Now, I'm not saying all of us. Wait, Karembo. I want. Wewe pia wewe sikiza. Rafimas. Haimaanishi wazazi wetu kuna mahali ati kuna wengine ati hawakutokezea vizuri. We have children who've been raised up in in secured families. Sindio? In functional families, we have them. But the majority, because when you're dealing with a big number, inakuwa about average. Sindio? The majority tuko wapi?
Lakini this way, angalia how you turned out. Look
So
how I
meaning
turned
you,
out,
what you're
bro.
doing is you're supporting the same system that brought us where we are.
Dizo, you are a mental health. Yani wewe, advice yako on mental health ni noma. Are you trying to say kuwa wazazi wako wakufanya kitu poa with you?
Ngoja Rafi, let me do this.
Tuseme, hata kama ilikuwa kubambanya or ilikuwa like learning on the way. Mimi inaweza angalia, I turned out well, hata kama nilireziwa na challenges. Hata wewe, who you are right now, bro, cheki zile mapoint unatupatia. Whether you taught yourself, but it was part of your journey for you to get...
If I'm to be honest, the most things that I know came from school. Hakuna mwalimu mzazi wangu atakuja aseme by the way ndio nilimfundisha hizo vitu.
Wacha
hizi. If I'm also to be ngoja. If I'm also to be honest with you, I don't think hata wazazi wangu wanajua mimi ni nani. You know, so it doesn't mean have you ever heard of emotional alchemist? Hao watu wenye wanaweza turn pain into something constructive.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with the parent. It is just your personality.
This I have a question for you.
Unaona, kwa hivyo hiyo kusema ati lazima nishukuru wazazi wangu, si lazima.
Si lazima washukuru. Nasema
yes,
that parenting builds that wholesome personality yenye you end up having in the end. Unaona, hiyo parenting whether they did...
So hapo hebu tukufike hapa. Inzano mahali tuko saa hii, the biggest average. Issue ni gani? Ni parenting ama ni watoto tu ndio wameamua kuharibika?
Sahi.
Mahali tuko.
Wana sahi ni parenting, bro.
Sawa. So meaning you, the parenting system that you are talking about is the same that has led us here.
But now, Dizo, that's why I want to ask you a question. Same question to you that you asked Rafi. When you made the decision to be a father, what was the purpose of you doing that?
Why did you become a father?
Societal expectation.
Okay,
Societal
now, wait.
expectation.
I want to be a father.
Follow-up question.
Haukutaka.
Najua siwache nikujibu ama ulikuwa unataka tu jibu moja.
No, I want to
juu ulisema kila mtu ajiongelele.
Jibu swali yangu alafu uulize chenye unauliza.
Sasa
I accepted. You know, before I would have fought this thing and say, hey, mimi mwenyewe nilitaka huyu mtoto.
Haukuwa unataka.
Mimi mwenyewe nilimtaka. Unajua? No, nilikuwa namtaka but not from intention. It was a societal expectation that, hey, you know what?
Dizo. Oya, Dizo wapotea.
Mzee.
Unanisikiza?
Sasa ndio tutakusikia. Repeat.
Kaa juu ya nini?
Not from a point of
kwa hivyo wewe, it's not something you wanted, like I want to be a father.
Ilikuwa societal expectation of it,
So mnanisikiza sasa hivi?
Yes,
nakusikia.
So there are things I've put my son through that
umepotea, bro, umepotea.
Bro, una break?
Guys,
una break.
There are things I've put my son through that if I'm to become a parent right
Dizo.
Oya.
Dizo.
You're breaking Dizo.
Break kabisa, yani from there are things that you have put your son through.
So ndio nilikuwa nasema haya,
Mzee, namna gani? Mbona jamaa anakupigia acha kupigia?
Let's go to
inapotea.
Let's go to something that we all know. Hata hapa hivi kwa rabbit hole. I ended my relationship. Now, before I ended that relationship, the toxicity I had put my son through, I don't think right now I can put a child through. The things I put my son through as a parent are the things that even turned me into a self-awareness coach. You know, so sijasema ati sikutaka kuwa mzazi, nilitaka kuwa mzazi, but was it intentional really, ama was it a societal expectation? So if it was a societal expectation, then that wasn't me. That was me reacting to what the society is expecting of me.
Would you have chosen different?
Now, let me ask the question. Fine. Now, that was society expectation. So this is where at the point now you've made the decision to be a father. You've had your child for several years. Are you still parenting out of society expectations? Yes or no? Another follow-up question. No. So that means you stepped up to be a father, right? For this child.
I became a father. I didn't step up. I became a father.
Okay, meaning those constructs now, and it's like you stepped up to be a dad because it wasn't your expectation. So now in this
I wasn't a father.
He was not.
I became a father.
So
can you use intentional words? Don't use societal words.
Okay.
Because stepping up means I was a father and I knew what I was supposed to do, but I didn't do it. No, I was not a father. I became a father.
Now you became a father. So now my question is this. Now, when Rafi talks about him, he'd want to impact his own children with things that hakupata from his own way of being parented, that now him as a parent anataka kufanya something different from what their parents did. How different is it with what he is doing and what you are doing? Because now you became a father. It stopped being a societal expectation. Now it became your intention.
The question that you've not asked Zizo is, why is he choosing to be a father?
But you
so let me
become a father, ashaamua.
You ni combine. So let me answer you. So Mimi, I don't want to impose anything on my son. I've had this conversation even with my clan so many times. Ile design ya, so see you'd really help your son. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm looking at. Mimi, I am speaking to the masses. Now, if my son picks up that information, the better. Because it's here, Daddy. The information is here with you. But I am not going to force you to drink this information. I am going to embody myself to be a better person. Then he can observe that. And he can become whatever he wants to become. I have no expectation. I'm not teaching my son how to be a man.
So
I'm teaching my son how to be independent so that he can make his own decisions.
But that means
isn't that not feel the same in it being a different kind of concept that you're introducing you versus what
so
our
parents
your hands off. For you have decided
so
what?
The difference is
your
it doesn't have to be my son. As I said, I'm talking to the masses.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Now your approach.
It doesn't have to be my son. Like as in yangu sina ati.
Na ni sawa Dizo and the definition and
approach yako umeamua kuwa hands off kuwa mimi sitakuwa participatory na kushape mind ya huyu mtoto. Yeye kile naongelelea to the masses akipik ni sawa, asipopik ni sawa. Lakini pia kuna mwenzako kama mimi mwenye nimeamua kuimpact hizo lessons direct. Akipik ni sawa, asipopik.
Ndio ukaulizwa Rafi, ukaulizwa kitu simple. Mtoi akikataa because life is uncertainty.
Lakini sasa at least akona hiyo option ya kukataa.
Sasa nikwambie, wewe na kanisa same WhatsApp. Wewe ndio umetuleta kwa hii pata. Ngoja.
Sikia. Bro, lazima uelewe kitu kaka. Unaona sisi tuli grow up na watu ambao maybe kuna wenye walikuwa na parentiwa hiyo system ya hands off.
But you see, Rafi, you see, for Dizo, he's no longer making it an individual kind of place. Si mtoto wake pekee. Amedecide sasa kwenda societal. A place where he has decided what he does, people can either choose to follow or not to follow. You belong to me blood or not, that's for you to decide. Umeget? So yeah, I'm focus on himself, haja focus, and then I can put it out there like this is the way he wants to do things. Now, Dizzo, that is your style of doing those things. How then is it such and that's the new norm where new parents currently, the ones who've decided to be parents intentionally, ama they've become, wamefika mahali now they want to unlearn what they saw from their parents and learn new ways of parenting. Nashika, because in the end of the day, Rafi unaintroduce vitu wewe hukupata. Umechoose kujiunderstand, ukaiweka hapo. If you want to do it individually for your kids, be it be adoptive or not, you've chosen that. Because also don't forget something Dizzo mmetoka kusema asipofollow.
Karebo, can I be professional with this? Wajeni sasa hata nitoke darkness. Let me be professional with it. You hata your darkness nimekataa tuingie.
Tumeingia mara
Dizzo, we were actually in your darkness of how you're doing your parenting.
No.
Na ndio nilikuwa nataka kwenda to a place no, he himself is telling us that venye ameifanya, amedecide kuwa he's a blueprint that even if the son chooses to follow or not, he has other people like in the society that can learn from that. That's what he's putting out there. Now, which is okay. But sasa ndio nauliza, sasa in a place of now that, okay, ndio wafike hapo, what kind of conversations have na mtoto wake? Because are you going to tell me that huyo mtoto anakaa hivi, like he didn't sit down with the kid akamwambia, this is what I'm doing for you as a dad?
Karembo, let me ask you a question. When should you start talking to your child?
From conception, you start talking to your child from conception. I as a mother, because being nimebeba mtoto, I start speaking to my child from the time I conceive them. When they're in my tummy, that's when I start speaking to them. Because Kiza, how then does a child get to start reacting kujua, that's mama's voice, that's daddy's voice? Because that is how you start instilling recognition venye amesema, proximity. So if you don't want proximity, the reason, no, wait, Baiko, and the reason nasema hivi, okay, no, sasa nataka kupeleka in a darker darkness of yours, and I have allowed you ukaongea. Dizzo, this is what I'm saying, because it was a society expectation. Imagine I've been listening, so I'm asking him the question. So he says it was a society expectation. Mbona hange afanya hivi, I choose not to have that because it wasn't his.
But that's what he wants to tell us.
No, but that's where I'm going. I'm asking this. What if now, because now he became, what if he chose, because there was also another option. Angesema hataki yo mtoto.
Ndio anataka kutuambia kwa nini kuchukua hiyo option.
Thank you.
Rastan, mute your mic. Kidogo tu Rastan. 1 minute.
Hiyo ndio ingekuwa sasa nini? That's the darkness.
And if you come Rastan, you better come with darkness. Me, I want to clear this thing with professionalism. Okay. How many of us were told by our parents, or after we had our parents, me, I'm giving you what I never had? You're having shoes right now. You know when I wore shoes? You're having a car right now. Do you know when I bought a car? Do you know how many kilometers?
That is be fast. Come on, man, Rastan. Your children, how old are you?
Rastan, I'll remove you.
How old are you? How old is your kid? Tell us.
So, what Rafi is saying, you are sitting with your son. To share with your son what you didn't get, that you feel your son should get. Yeah? It's the same thing our parents did. That is the same pattern you are repeating.
But you're assuming that whatever our parents did, it didn't work out everywhere.
I am not assuming. No, again, Rafi.
Dizzo, you had the right to have left Karembo. Your child.
Karembo, so just wait. Rafi. We talked about it's 10 people. Out of 10 people, 8 people are sick. How are you going to report that?
What is this story?
Huh?
Come on. We are on the point. Diesel. I'm Judge 1,000 years. You know me.
Rafi, how are you going to report that? 8 people are sick, but kuna watu wawili hawakuwa wagonjwa.
Being
Are
sick
you
is
going to
normal.
say that unaenda kusema being sick in that area is normal? So mimi nikisema our parents did that parenting, I'm not saying that there are people who didn't come out well. Nimekwambia kuna watu wenye they grew up in secured families. I did say that.
We
But
secured
the
our family.
majority, the majority of us, tukiangalia vizuri bro, right now one of the most booming profession is therapy. Bro, to a point therapy is normalized, it means the majority are fucked up. And if majority are fucked up, there is a root cause to that. That is parenting. So I am not saying hiyo chenye unafanya ati haiendi work. I'm just trying to tell you, you are repeating the same pattern we want to break. Because why don't we try a new pattern? I'm not saying, in fact, I'm not talking even about my pattern. That's why we are having these conversations. Like, why don't we try a new pattern? Ikikuwa ndio, sisi we have children, ndio we have children. Bro, for us, mali imefika, whether it's obligation, whether it's alignment, you have to become. But we are having a conversation that is going to those who are not parents. Are you going to tell someone, oh, by the way, get a child because you have to shape that child into your wisdom?
But
we are telling people to do, we are telling people to follow your advice. Be whatever you want. If that person wants to shape that child,
no, you're telling people to repeat the same.
Yes, but
you're telling people to repeat the same pattern we have been having.
Yes, but if the same pattern ni kitu anataka. Remember your example. If you want to be bad, be bad. If you want to impact ile kitu yenye wewe uliona iko broken na una impact, you have said it. The free will to do.
How will we break the pattern?
But now, how can we break the pattern? Diesel.
Ngoja, Diesel. Let me go in.
Ni swali simple. Rafi unaweza
wacha nikusaidia how you're going to break that pattern because network yako
ngoja, hebu iangalie hivi. If everyone
Rafi unaona hii question ni very simple for you. Right now it's a very simple question to ask someone, why do you want to become a parent? Till you ask them is when they realize, by the way, juu mimi nataka tu mtoto, or this is what I want to need to my child. But huyo mtu ukimwangalia vizuri, themselves they are going through their own struggles they haven't dealt with.
But struggles as the issue.
Okay, let me be as dark as possible.
Ngoja. Unaona hiyo kitu sasa unafanya Rafi, hiyo ndo kitu I'm still insisting. There is no constructive conversation you are having. You want us to remain conformed because being conformed is okay for you.
No, it's a choice, bro. The same way you will
haven't refused. I'm just telling you, you are choosing. Ni kama nikuje nipate dema kuja kwambie bwanake umpige. Ndio? Akienda chague mwanamume mwingine, huyu mwanamume pia anampiga. Alafu kuja umuulize, by the way, why do you keep on picking this man? Akwambia, by the way, just like men beating me. Hiyo ni pattern tie break. Just because it's a choice.
Lakini bro, si umesema uko pro choice ama?
Ngoja.
No, ndio nakuuliza. As in for me,
haitaisha, itaendelea, it will be persistent.
For me, I've kept on insisting. How do we have a progressive conversation? Right?
Okay.
I am not the standard of how parenting is. I want first of all kila mtu understand. I am not the standard of what self-awareness is. But I can challenge anything, and if it is a toxic pattern, I'll tell you that is a toxic pattern, and here is a proof. It doesn't matter how many words you want to put on it.
No, okay, I
So
feel
we agree. Pia wewe kuja useme, yes, yenyewe I'm repeating a toxic pattern, hoping for something different.
what if probably even what you're suggesting could also be a toxic pattern? Because think about
But it
it.
has never, no,
Sasa
it can't be a toxic pattern
ndio
because
Dizo
ngoja
nasema
Karembo,
who gives
kama unajua
who
English, hiyo chenye umesema ni wrong. Hiyo chenye umesema ni wrong because it has never happened. How can it be a toxic
so
pattern?
that's
A
the
pattern
thing
is something that
nasema
repeats.
okay, what would be toxic? Because you see your definition of the toxic is coming to what is you're not relating to at the time.
If whatever I've suggested becomes toxic, right? Then it's okay. We learn from that toxic and we change that pattern immediately. We don't need to keep on repeating it. Why are we repeating the same thing expecting a different solution?
And you see
But
that
it is not, you can't say it's a pattern. It's not a pattern. It has never been done. So why don't we see how it can? Ni kama pia tukae tuseme, you know what, you can parent a child, you don't have to marry, but you can co-parent. Like you can meet someone, muagri kando kando ili ni aje, tunaweza kuwa wazazi, lakini unaweza ishi maisha yako, mimi niishi. There is another dynamic like that. Tunaweza jaribu hiyo tuone. Hiyo pia ikiwa toxic, toa. Like as in, we share other dynamics that are not norms. Because if you share a
and I want
dynamic,
to introduce
whether
something.
uipatie words ama usiipatie words, that toxic dynamic is toxic dynamic. We are seeing by proof. We can prove it in our society.
But you see, you're the one who will be defining the toxic the toxic kind of traits, eh? And I want to use your example.
Right now,
Dizo, I want to use your same example to introduce a new dynamic where now, I mean, unless you don't want to look into the darkness of it. First of all, let's go back. When you said when that child came, it was more of a society, expectation. It wasn't yours. Then you had the option of, which, think about it, children can also learn from it, walk away from it. Kata. The same way you find that animals, like look at like a lion can decide to kill one of its cub because ashaona the next successor ni nani. You get, coming from a primal place of survival. Or you don't have to have these kids to keep on, to show them that you are asserting a certain kind of dominance in a certain situation. So think about it like now. Why can't we not say fathers who decide not to claim some of their children when they're part of, they're like, I don't want that child, could also be part of a dynamic that they're introducing for this child to get, because think about it, the only time this child now becomes all, it's when the emotions are played out and used to manipulate them. But if it's coming from an animal kind of instinct, this child is supposed to survive and make their own way. So that's the place najaribu kusema, if you want to be dark, let's be dark. And my darkness would be this. The same way ndio tunasema, how do abortions come about? Somebody has decided not to have a child. Sindio? So it becomes a place of no emotions, and these people are like, kill that thing. There's no point akuja safe. Let's move past this. It's coming from a place of, what are you trying to show? Higher. Right now, let's say even for the ones like that father-son and situation, you can actually say, fine, I'm the father, my DNA can be that son, but I don't claim him as a son. Let him be his own person, na wewe uendelee na maisha yako. Whatever unaenda ukiacha, if he wants to learn from it, learn from it. But I feel like for Dizo ndivyo sasa I become a father, it's coming from a place of that society expectation of fear. That's why I conform. But he had the option of, fuck it, I don't have to. Think about
Karembo,
it. That's how I look at
I
this
did
kind of
have, I did have that option.
Yeah, and also,
I did.
darkness
Ngoja,
inaweza
ngoja, ngoja.
apply
Inzano ngoja. Inzano ngoja nijibu hiyo.
Hebu sikiza.
Oh, yeah.
Ngoja nijibu hiyo.
Oh, upo. So, sikuwa na kusikia. Ongea.
So, Karembo, you see that venye umeongea hivyo, huwezi niambia ati mimi I'm coming from a place where I fear societal expectation. No, what you've talked about is exactly what I'm trying to tell you guys. Introduce a new thing. Mimi, by the time I was taking that role through societal expectation, I didn't know any other information other than fitting into the society. I didn't want to be called a deadbeat. I didn't want,
fear.
you know, all those, yeah,
Fear
that
and
was then.
ego. Yes. Even now,
Yeah,
I feel
and you
it's coming from
sijakata.
the same place. How many children have grown without their fathers and have become people? And in the end of the day, that dad, they don't get to relate with them, with or without if they were there or not. Think about it,
How is it right now?
because
How is it?
put your emotions and be
Karembo.
logical about situation.
Unajua Karembo,
Karembo, hata wewe sasa pia wewe ni kama unauliza swali alafu unajijibu, because hiyo kitu unasema sijakataa nayo. Saizi venye nimebecome, I'm at a point whereby whatever you've talked about is true. Right now I have an option to say I really don't need kids. I have an option to say, hey, you know what? I'm not getting any kid, or I am getting a kid.
Yes.
Because of the information I have right now. And before I even told Rafi, mahali sisi tumefika, when we got those kids na tushawapata, tuko hapa. The reason why I'm encouraging people to focus on themselves, kwa nini? So that you can discern the information coming right now and make decisions not out of obligation, not out of ego, not out of societal expectations.
But
you can change reality.
Kakangu, sikupingi tu kukupinga. I want, mi nasema from my perspective. Unaona, when we talk about fatherhood, your type of fatherhood is hands off. Unaona? But kama tunaongelea kuhusu
hata toa yangu, assume yangu,
tumesema tunaongelelea personal experiences, because we said we'll not give abstract examples.
Yeah.
Tunaongelelea about personal. So let me yako ni I will be hands off. I will not be the teacher of this kid what he needs to learn to get him to the next level. Whatever.
That's not what I said, bro.
Bro, if ndo ulisema.
Hapana, nilisema I am not talking to my child. I am talking to the masses. It doesn't mean I'm not in my child's life.
Mimi nilikuwa talking about the aspect.
Hands on, I am on my child.
Sasa see, it's the same thing yenye sisi tunafanya.
I am not forcing information on my child. Mimi nabonga tu na mtoi wangu kama venye naweza bonga na mtoi mwingine.
Haya, sasa let's say sisi ni kuforce. Tuseme maybe venye unaweza ona sisi ni kuforce. The same approach wewe unaongea na mtoto wako, si ndio the same way tumedecide kuwa we are also going to be the teachers of our kids, not by forcing them ati lazima uwe mrasta wewe, lazima uwe nini, unaona? No, but just impacting.
Unadhani mzazi wako alikuwa anakuforce? Me, I'm just trying to highlight hiyo method unasema. It is a repeated method. Whether you like it or not, it is a repeated method. It has not been there.
Ganyo.
Yeah, like as in wewe unataka kuambia mtoi wako, kuguide mtoi wako venye yuko. We are in a transition period. Mtoi wako ukaulizwa tu swali vizuri. Ngoja. Ukaulizwa tu swali vizuri. Mtoi wako asipokubali chenye unataka. Ukasema hiyo ni result. Hapana, it's not a result.
Nikasema pia ni sawa, because at the end of the day, why do you think the age of consent imekuwa 18? Kwa sababu there is a period of growth huyu mtoto lazima afike for them to actually comprehend anafanya nini legally.
So ndio mimi
wanafanya vile wanataka.
Ndio mimi nikasema why are you repeating the same pattern?
But sasa mahali tuna disagree, bro, ni the methodology of teaching. Unaona, for you vile mimi na teach, it is a repetitive pattern mahali it's familiar, uliona ikigo through. But for me vile na teach, it's not a repetitive pattern, kwa sababu hii ni kitu ambayo ni kama curriculum. Ile kitu ambayo mimi siku receive as growing up in terms of lesson. I'm not even talking about materially. I'm talking about kuna core lessons.
Una break the cycle yenye kwenu amkuwa mnafundishwa kwa
mimi na break ile cycle yenye sasa inahitaji, unaona venye sahi mimi nahitaji ku work on myself. That the fact that it was never worked on before, nataka ku break hiyo cycle mtu akiwa young, na whether ataichukulia ama ataidiscard, hiyo sasa ni huko kwa results. But in the initial stage you need to participate and be present in what your kid learns.
Wait, but I have a question for Baiko. Are you also doing the kind of a similar? Are you what is your dynamic of parenting?
In what sense?
Okay, actually he said when he was making a joke, ulisema will step down, right? So for you nika umejitoa, si ndio? So that is also a dynamic that we can go by.
Unajua?
Ndio nauliza, are you the kind of to do like a collective message, or you have a way that you're trying to tailor make it for this party? Because think about it, by the time you choose to be a parent, it's a legacy you want to leave, right? That is a place of ego. So question yangu would be,
umeniuliza swali na ukajibu.
No, only when you're not aware. That's where it's coming from.
Okay, now let me ask
but
you.
If you're aware,
so
it
for you,
come from ego.
Okay, sir. Now, Dizo, are you aware? Let's start from there.
I became a parent. Yeah, I'm aware now.
Okay, now what would you want your son to represent? If you're aware, is it a legacy, or you just don't want anything to do with that? Because what would be the point of that parent?
I'm also very curious to know what he represents.
Okay, so
I'm also very curious. Mimi, all I am going to give him is support and security.
What type of support, bro?
Yes. So the question would be, what is your
anything
objective?
Anything that I see that is working for him, I'll give him support on.
So
whether
that
I
one
like
would be
it,
more
whether I know
that
it
one would
or
be
I
more
don't.
subjective, not even objective. Because my question would be, the moment you've recognized that you want to become a parent, that you are a parent. So what is your objective as a parent?
Your goal, yani.
Your goal on this child. What is your first primary objective with this child? Before you go to now making it about societal, people can follow it. You get my point?
So my objective is to show my son what it means to be a whole person.
Now, within that whole person, are you looking
not
at
to teach him, to show him. So if it's to show him, it is me becoming that whole person.
And thank you. If you're going to show him to be a whole person, that means it's a legacy of how to be a whole person. Unampatia a impact as he goes with the next generation.
No, it's not a legacy. I'm showing everyone that. How is it a legacy to my son alone? I'm showing everyone that.
You see,
I'm showing everyone that you can actually be emotionally intelligent and logical at the same time.
And Dizo kwenye, I think watu wana confuse legacy. They think it is, hata mimi nilikuwa nafikiria hivi kitambo. Legacy ni kitu personal. Ati mnafanya tu kwenu. A great man is a great man everywhere. Okay. Elon Musk sasa tunamuongelelea. Na watu wanataka kuwa kama Elon Musk na si baba yetu. Lakini akona watoto wake.
But sasa ndio nauliza, but if he wasn't intentional about his kids, he would not be even intention to know which watoto anapata na nani. Because that's what nataka kusema, his objective of becoming a parent, a father, and how he goes about it, his intention of where he wants to have his seed go. And that's when nasema objectivity yake ukiangalia.
Ngoja nikuulize swali.
Wait.
What is the intention of Elon Musk?
Right now he needs to humanity survival. Like he's more of survival beyond Earth.
Na akona watoto wangapi?
I think 9
hivi.
The ones I know, I think they're 9 because Ali disowned the other son who became gay.
By how many women?
I can't even count, but there are many.
How many times can somebody fuck?
Now, how? Okay.
Lakini parenting
ngoja. Nataka tuende pole pole.
As many times as possible, yes. But yeah, kitu ndio nakwambia. If you remember the example I gave, before you get emotional about because of society demands, if you go into your primal kind of instinct, you get to choose who survives, who doesn't get to survive. Period. Because don't forget something, natural selection even in the world. That's why we have diseases in the weak ones. The stronger generation goes ahead. So if you still want that survival of what now Dizo is trying to impact on his son and the society, he needs somebody to survive and spread the same kind of mindset. Unashika? Because what would be the point?
No, I don't need to. Hakuna legacy nataka kutumwa mahali.
It's not, na ndio nasema from the way Baiko ametoka ku explain, it doesn't even have to be your son, but you need to have a collective of people who will see your mindset.
I don't need
but people who will adopt into it.
But people do,
not
whether
really.
you like it or not.
So with or without a need,
really.
If it's not a need, okay. If it's not a need, then there's no objectivity to it. Secondly, again, you're nasema, ngoja, let me finish. If there's no need for it, then you don't even need to have he should not have fallen into his becoming a parent. he should have let the child be and he may continue living his life. Because think about it. Why then are you trying to say you're trying to be an individual with this kind of charisma of the way unajibeba, lakini hutaki tena, but you want other people to impact of how to be an individual.
Karembo, being an individual is not nataka
Karembo, you are really
kukua.
assuming a lot of things.
I'm not assuming. I'm not assuming.
Then ask. Badala ya kuassume vitu hivyo unadhani kitu unafanya. Uliza tu specifically in every step. Uliza tu specifically. Because hiyo story yote yenye umepeana has no relation to what I have said. It is just you assuming what I have said. So niulize specifically.
So what would be my assumption yet when I started this conversation ilikuuliza, was it your intention to be a parent? Ukasema no, it was a societal. Then ukasema when you became a parent, you've chosen to go to a place where you want him to be his own person. So why then show him if you're not having a need of him to identify to be his own person? You don't need it. Unge walk away from it to say, me, watch atafunzwa na dunia, he doesn't need you. You get my point? So that's when nilikuwa nasema, it's coming from a place of that need of kufulfill your society. That's why uli get to become now the parent. Now during this, because you also want to fight the traditional way of parenting.
You're wrong, Karembo. Again, you're going ahead with an assumption.
Okay.
It doesn't mean venye tu nimesema sisi tayari tumejipata kwa hiyo objection, kwa hiyo obligation. Tuko na watoto. Unaget, hautatoka tena ati unajua nini sasa, I'm not nini. You will go on with the societal expectation because that was the foundation you built there. It's only that you are going to break the cycle of how to raise that child. Now, breaking that cycle is the discussion I'm introducing here. I am not saying
now for a cycle to break Dizo, there has to be people who have to have that kind of free will of thinking outside the box. And when you begin
for
it
means cycle
to
break, it just takes you. It's just you, Karembo.
And
just you.
Okay. Na ndio kukuwa na such diversity of nini, it means that there have to be people to see how you are, how you're responding to different stimulus within that society. And for them to have seen that, that's how now it becomes a new dynamic. The same when nilikuwa nasema nikauliza Baiko. So him at one point alitaka kuwa, he was intentional of being a parent. Now, what is your current new dynamic that you want to impact? Are you going to impact the kids? Am I just into what other people that?
Me, I'm not impacting anybody.
Okay.
Yes, as in, if they see what I'm doing as something according to me and according to them, as you're saying, wataona, si ndio? Sijawaambia kitu yote. I go back to the same question I asked you when unaulizango church. Are you living your life according in a way that will please the Lord? As in, where being an individual is not that you choose apart from that. No, you've noticed, hey, by the way, I'm an individual. Now you start to question, mbona nafanya hivi? Now you're doing things from your self-interest. Kwenye naelewa kenye nafanya. Now, if I'm living like that, then it means I'm also able to filter out things that are working for me and things that are not working for me.
Let me give you a practical example.
Kidogo tu, wacha nimalize, umeniuliza swali. What am I doing different? For me, I'm thriving. If I am thriving, then my kids see, hey, by the way, now say, but if they get to that point, they will notice. Because that is what I'm bringing.
But in that thriving, they are under you.
They are not under me.
Let me give you an example why
so
you need to be present.
So are you saying that you're not being a parent? Because a parent is provision,
Karembo,
care, and protection.
Ndio nasema sasa hizo ni basics.
What else is making? So what is parenting?
Of a parent.
That is basic.
Okay, so
are they not my children?
So in short, tunafaa kusema, at this point, you're not even talking about parenthood. We are talking about individualism.
It's no longer parenting,
it's
individualism.
Think about it. Because I'm asking I'm asking the question from a point of parent to a child.
Let me give you a practical example.
That's what darkness is all about.
On the TV, kwenye YouTube, there's this, I don't know if it's Bebe Finn or this cartoon. And on that cartoon, the kids are jumping from the chair na wanaruka na kichwa. And then kidogo unaona mtoto, and I'm talking about practical, unaona mtoto anajump from the chair, anajirusha, falling, like anaenda juu. You see, if you are not present to witness that, utakuta mtoto amefanya self-harm kwa sababu you are hands off. Sometimes not everyone
what is parenting exactly here? Some patterns. Are you doing societal or are you doing for
whatever you have said? Whatever you have said is just your own fear that you're projecting on your child.
Bro, it is
but
something
there
are a lot of things that
it is the same thing you guys are also projecting, because even these new dynamics that you're introducing. Now, remember,
you are fearing
you cannot be talking
dynamic
of individualism and then another time you also want to talk about that it's a new dynamic of parenting. What is parenting? I come from defining from it, then I'm like, okay, then when it comes to getting to mold characters of the kid, it's still part of parenting.
Whatever you people are comfortable with. Mimi nimetoka tu kuwaambia, nimewaambia tu vizuri tu mahali. Toeni watoto kwa hii conversation. Can we talk about the parents? So if we are talking about the parents, hakuna mahali mimi utakuja uniambie mtoto wako akiruka nini. No, let me give you an example of mimi mtoto wangu alikuwa anaruka from very high places. Very very high places. Watu hadi walikuwa wanakuwa uncomfortable by the around my kid, including there was a time Kibe had come to visit me. Kibe alikuwa so irritated mpaka akaniambia, yo bro, hebu toa tu mtoto wako hapa tanguka kutoka kwa balcony. Cause alikuwa anashangaa venye I was so easy with it.
Lackluster.
What I had the moment mtoto wangu aliruka, mimi mara ya kwanza nikaona ameruka, mimi nikaambia tu mtoto wangu, ukiumia jua hiyo ni wewe na wewe.
Sio ni parenting with fear. Na hiyo ndo kitu umesema.
No, hakuna parenting with fear hapo. I've just introduced. I haven't told him to stop. Nimeomba unaweza endelea by the way, just so ukiumie. Yes.
If you change the probability of that, it's on you.
So yangu ikakuwa ni mimi naweza kaa hivi udhani sijali about mtoi wangu. But si ati sijali about mtoi wangu. Hiyo chenye wewe umekaa unaogopa naweza ruka umie, unaweza kaa hapo ushangaa ataruka mara mingi na hata umia. Ilifika point paka he was jumping, yani paka ameongeza ma style, he rolls akianguka chini.
But hizo ni zile chances zenye mtoto hajaumia bro.
Hakuna chances again, hakuna mali niliweka fear ataumia ama hataumia.
But see,
I just introduced a consequence of kuumia. Sikumstopisha.
Na sasa tuseme kama angeumia, what would have happened?
Sasa haku hiyo ni ngeli ya ange.
Sasa si ndo hapo sisi hatutangoja hiyo result ifanyike. Sisi tuna stop hiyo behavior before ifanyike.
Result hadi saizi hajaumia. So mbona niongelee kama ange?
Lakini ukumbuke hizi si kila mzazi ama si kila mtu atapata results kama zako bro. Si kila mtu
atapata. Wewe unaendelea kuongea na fear. Wewe unaendelea kuongea.
Tutoe hata hiyo fear sasa, the same tunasema tutoe
ile.
Nimesema tutoe watoto na tutoe hiyo hata fear.
Tuongelee tu
wazazi.
Fear is part of
parenting. So hata nikuonyeshe, let me tell you now how another way we get to do it. Mimi, unasikia it's about how you carry yourself, then they will get to see it. I'll give a very good example. These guys here, they keep complaining that I drive very fast. But that's on you guys. The children that are within my family, they see it as a normal kind of thing. There's no fear about that. So wow, tumeonyesha that no, it's your confidence as a person of how you ride your car. It's your confidence on the road of how you do these things. So what does that tell you? What am I impacted? Not even just my child, but even the child, or even the family or the society that I'm in. What have they learned? That these are people who have such confidence that hawaogopi ati because sijui whatever car wanaendesha ati lazima sijui waende sijui. No, that's how they are. So Dizo, I get that point. Individual, like how well unajibeba and how it helps them now be their own individuals of that. How has that impacted? One thing I know for a fact, there are so many ways of how us we are outspoken even as a family that you find even the same thing. Unakuta mtoto hata anachukua tu karakta zako. that they can even approach anybody, ask questions, that they're confident in themselves, they can ask this. That they know when, they get to understand such things. That is what nimeget to understand the way this wanajaribu kusema, which totally makes sense. And still, those are the new dynamics of parenting. Now, me in my kind of darkness, Dizo pale nilikuwa najaribu kuenda was a place of, if you are not ready, you had other options. We don't have to change the dynamic, but you could have chosen a different dynamic where if you really want to focus on yourself as a person, you can choose not to have it. Because I have seen enough people whose life, with or without the impact of the mother or the father, have been able to also tap into their own, put aside their emotions, the same way tunaongea about come to car Elon. Elon, do you think he's emotional? This guy, and I get to understand the purpose. If you remember about when we're talking good and evil, when you understand your purpose, you get to know that even if I'm getting children, hata wao anajua kuna kazi, like this is the purpose I want. Please put the emotions aside. Lazima that's how unaona the son who went gay, alimdisown. Because for him is like you're not aligning to what his dynamic or culture that he believes of being a person is, or personality.
Let me ask you a question. And I think it shape venye we are carrying this conversation, because unajua and we started it on a small hill. Sasa tumeteremka nayo and we are rolling nicely bana. Sasa hapa ndio watu wa reggae wanasema rolling stone gather no moss. Aya
Dizo
unaona
Dizo
Hola.
Bro, kama ulikuwa unataka rabbit hole, sasa ndo tumeingia tukachubui kabisa uko ndani.
Umeniweka therapy couch hapa na
complaining that you are not on rabbit holes wakati tuko ndani ya shimo ndani.
Dark as it gets.
Mimi nataka kuingia kwa shimo. Mimi sitaki hizo madiscussion.
Ndio maana nasema aje hatujaingia kwa shimo.
Ingieni basi.
The stone has started to roll.
Mimi niko na mafuta.
Tunaenda tukiachilia kidogo. Because now unaona mkisema intention. That's the reason I asked you what was Elon's intention. The only person that knows the intention is Elon.
Yeah, but mostly it comes out like survival.
Ngoja. The only person, and I'm going to repeat it very slowly, the only person that understands his intention, Elon's intention, is Elon. The only thing he can do is to tell you or try and communicate his intentions. Unapata? Venye mtachukua ni shida yenu. Kuna mmoja atachukua aseme ni survival, kuna mmoja atachukua aseme ni nini. Bro, whatever works for you, but me, I'm doing this. That guy has become his own individual. It's the same way. If you keep on going and no ukiona kila mtu anaenda akichukua individuality yake. But this is now where the catch is. That's why I'm saying it's just a rolling stone now. Tuko karibu kushika moto. How many are aware of that intention?
Very few.
Very, very few.
Very few. Exactly.
So why are we not having that conversation of those guys if truly they are aware of the intentions?
We are coming from a place of ignorance.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm saying this. And na nikasema that I totally get it. Na ndio nikasema if it's about nani having an intention of trying to be impactful in a certain way with his kind of way of character. Shika, like the way maybe this one anataka ku change like the dynamic.
Now, this is where I'm going with this conversation. You do not understand what Dizo is saying about his intention because you are choosing to get what you want to get. But you're not asking, by the way, umefanya hivi. Wewe umechukua already, like pande yake ameshakosea.
No, sikuwahi kwa kukosea.
No, I'm just this is an example
to circumstance.
Ndio nasema exactly.
So I did not say ni makosa. He did it out of circumstance.
Now let me tell you something. Unaona there's a day that we were having a conversation here with Dizo and alafu Gift came on the space and he was laughing at Dizo. Unajua ulikuliwa dem. We were with you on that set, sindio?
Yeah.
Yes, swali ilinichekesha bro. I went on thinking about the answer of that one, and it's like sasa sikugongewa ni kawaida. Si ndio?
Which ulisikia Tadizo alisema we are the ones who are making it sound it's kawaida kugongewa.
Ndio tunaenda hapo polepole. Tunaenda hapo polepole. But mimi nime acknowledge niligongewa. Napata?
Yeah.
Why did it happen? What was I not doing? That's the questions that most people don't ask themselves.
Now, for sure it was what you were not doing. Was it the other person's
the role you played
Exactly.
as an individual.
Now which yes. Now you're tumesema even when he was talking about single motherhood, what was your role in for you to get into that place? So everybody, when they get to understand that, then you get really to understand your new purpose.
Let me ask you.
And your intention.
You play all the roles right, you, let's say, in whichever definition you will ascribe to it, acha nisiseme role ni gani. So if you play all the roles right, are you in charge of someone else's action? You can't. Hawezi jiblame kuwa I wasn't the man enough na ni mtu mwingine amefanya those actions. It could have not been you. It could have been their personality.
Now we go back.
Something Baiko is saying, and it's very true. You can't start pointing fingers. Ndio huyo mtu no.
Myself I can.
You no.
I mean, you ngoja kidogo Raf. Have you not been present in every day of your life?
I have, but listen.
Ngoja. You've been present in every day of your life. How can you not know what you are doing?
No, listen. We blame ourselves because of the decisions of other people.
No.
Skiza.
We all have a conscience to know that we played a part in it.
Check it. Bro, hauwezi babysit kutochitiwa.
Wacha nitoke kwa negative. Ngoja Rafi, wacha nitoke kwa negative. Kuna siku unakaanga hivi nasema, bra, leo bana naenda kujibaia nyama choma. Manze kenye nilifanya jana man. That shit was nice. You get to a point and do that for yourself.
Yeah. Self-gratification
lazima ama unajulia kiatu ka perfume.
Lakini mbona saa shida una blame mtu mwingine?
Mimi nimekwambia don't blame yourself kwa sababu gani? Let me ask you. These people we meet, these ladies are individuals.
Si pia wewe ni individual.
Ngoja in this sense I cannot control who my partner sleeps with.
Rafi.
But I can choose my partner.
Rafi.
So for choosing, let's say, a narcissist.
Rafi,
would you go on a street?
You might not even have had any play into it, but ndio huo mtu afike hiyo place ya kucheat. So you are there. Because I mean, for that anything that you're relating to, not even it has to be individual.
Listen, you're not cheated on because you didn't play role. I was answering to the part where mimi sikucheza role fulani. Cheating is a personality. Ni mtu amechagua consciously as an adult ende akatoe ngodha. Si ati wewe kwa sababu huku
mbona sikuja have basi alani.
Cheating is not a personality. Cheating is not a personality.
Because I don't have to cheat.
An empath is not a personality.
If you say that, it means you're saying that even a personality cannot motivate someone to cheat.
Let me go with your school of thought. Cheating is a personality. Why is this person cheating as a personality?
But it's not.
Kidogo tu Dizo, 1 minute.
Skia. Let me answer that. It can't be that she cheated because I did not.
No. I am asking, why is cheating a personality?
Skia, kwa sababu ni kitu ambayo wewe kama individual umechagua na huwezi chagua kama haijaikuwa ndani yako.
Ndio nasema sasa mbwana unaenda. What is cheating? Wacha tuende kwa cheating. Cheating is in the act of tunaenda pande ya sleeping around a man.
Let's say I might not have the definite definition ya kuwa maybe hata kuna mtu mwingine akitext wakiwa kwenye text partner wake ataconsider cheating. Kuna mse mwingine ukienda date itaconsideriwa cheating.
Which is true.
Kuna mwingine cheating yake ni ukitolea mse ngodha. Kuna mwingine ni ukipatia wase attention. No, I will not go to the basic definition. What I'm saying is as individuals, we need to stop blaming ourselves because someone else did an action.
You know,
because you can play all the cards, Baiko. You can be the best person or the worst person. Mtu watu wangapi umeona hata they are in even destructive relationship na hawajaenda kucheat. Umeona watu wangapi wenye they have the best boyfriends na bado hawajaenda kucheat. Unaona?
Wacha niulize hii swali hivi basi. Unajua definitions saa ingine zimetufak kusema tu ukweli. Niko naambia wasee bana, the biggest
mimi hata kuna mahali hapo naona utahepa bro, Rafi ahepe.
Hata enda nimekumbuka, why is cheating a personality which is not.
Hata wacha hiyo. Rafi anajaribu kusema ati you cannot blame yourself when someone fucks you up. Bro, there's a role you play in every scenario in your life. Whether consciously or subconsciously, whether you like it or not. So we kuja useme you were ignorant in picking a woman.
But since when did blaming yourself ever solve anything, bro? Since when did identifying the problem?
Wait, I tell you. Wait. No one said you blame yourself and then you go die. You can blame yourself, then do something about it.
Or just
ili unajiambia, hey, niwahi jipata tena nikirudia hiyo ujinga. As I said, making a mistake is not a problem. Repeating a mistake is the problem. So kukuja kusema kublame mtu ati unajua mimi nilikuwa mpoa kwa mtu, yeye ndio akaenda akacheat. Maybe you didn't understand what she actually wanted. Because if you did, maybe you would have communicated from the word go. And created boundaries from the word go.
The only kitu
so meaning kama you didn't communicate, if you didn't communicate, kujilaumu si mbaya. Unaona hiyo kitu unajaribu kusema hiyo? Kujilaumu is not a bad thing, Rafi. It's only a bad thing if you blame yourself and become a victim about it.
Hey, don't be a victim. That's what I meant. Usiwe ati mimi
basi kujilaumu si mbaya. Ngoja. Kujilaumu si mbaya. It's like venye you might be playing football or let's say rugby. Then you were umepasiwa ball. That was the last minute. Bro, hii try inaenda kukua. Yani na after hiyo try your team is ahead and it's the final. Then that ball, the moment unapatiwa hivi, it falls off. Ain't that an accident?
Hey.
But huwezi rudi, unaweza rudi ujiambie hapo lakini wacha nijiblame. I think if maybe singekuwa nervous. If maybe, as in you are now trying to look for solutions that going forward, maybe I'll start training on receiving passes under pressure. So blaming yourself is not a problem.
So maybe tuko different mentality.
Victimization is the problem.
So kwa hivyo okay.
Victimization.
I guess by blaming yourself unasema maybe unasema just being cognizant of why you got to that place.
Like you see, for shadow work, if you do your shadow work, it doesn't matter what someone comes and tells you. They can't criticize you more than you've criticized yourself. You understand?
You've done the worst.
So external criticisms won't affect you. Whether someone blames you, whatever they decide to do, they won't affect you because you've done that to yourself and you've come out of it. So that's the idea.
Okay. Might be
ukisema tia ujiblame. Ukisema ujiblame alafu unasema huyo mtu ndo alicheat ama hapana hiyo ball venye uliitupa haikuwa poa ati ama hapana unajua nilislide. When are you going to take accountability? When you don't want to blame you, if you don't want to look into yourself, you'll always be creating excuses for any mistake you make.
True.
You'll always
There
find
has to be
someone
some
to blame.
accountability.
Accountability, yes, but listen,
Let
I
me
was
say
saying,
this,
don't get
but
stuck on
Rafi,
blaming yourself.
Rafi, let me say
Ambayo Dizo ameelezea father akasema go in working on, na hizo ndo consecutive conversations, but mahali nilikuwa najibia ni me, I never blame myself. I acknowledge ile mistake imefanyika, I see how I got there, but I can never say kuwa awe Rafis. Mimi by the way, najua ni poa kujikemea, but I already did that so many times. Say Nico, I can never.
I think you're confusing regret and maybe you're taking accountability.
And it doesn't.
You're not regretting. That is all right. You're not supposed to regret about the shit you've done.
You actually accept it
because
you welcome it.
Whatever you go through builds you or makes you to who you are at the moment. So there's no need for regretting. But beating yourself down, my friend, chukua nyundo.
So that mtu ulainike.
Mtu akikuja na whip unamwangalia uko like hiyo whip inaenda wapi kaka? Chapa umalize.
This unafaa umwambie you need to go back and connect back to that moment and ask yourself hapa ndio kufike hapa kulienda aje.
But I guess maybe it also borders on mimi nikiwa hiyo state I'm very non-functional. When I'm in that state I'm very non-functional. Kabisa yani. I get immobilized kabisa.
Hapo ndo unaingishwa pain tolerance.
Sasa hiyo state acha nikwambie is a state when you're highly functional na utakangi kuwa. Sasa, and as much as ni kushelf kitu to the next as a coping mechanism, bro, that is a very destructive state to be in for an individual like me. Mi sijui mse mwingine because once I start thinking na najipiga manyundo, I don't stop, bro.
Sasa unaona I think this is where now this embrace the darkness in the rabbit hole space is all about is.
In fact, that is what he needs to deal with.
Yeah.
Yes.
Saying that couple.
You need to go deal ile yenye mbona mimi nikianza kujihold accountable.
Mbona ni uchungu.
I enter into victimhood.
Hata si hivyo. We have all agreed, I think maybe consecutively tunasahau ile kitu tumeagree. We have all agreed kuwa victimhood si poa. Unaona? Na mimi ile kitu nakatani, I've been in those spaces where I am beating myself in trying to prop myself up. Unaona? Nimekuwa in that mental state. The point yenye nasema ni, do you know those people who live like they don't give a fuck are they one of the happiest people in the world? Yani mse yule ambaye ndiyo kitu kimemfanyikia. Case study mseka Boniface Mwangi. Hata change. Not on a hilarious thing.
No, him is a performer.
No, I am talking about mse mwenye vitu zimemfanyikia, whether ni kupigwa ama kukidnapiwa ama nini. But that does not change him, who he is and how he will conduct himself. Because I'm sure experience growth flani, you're going through those things na kuwa in that moment. Mimi vile na process ni.
Wacha nikuelezee why it happens like that. Rafi, if you see anyone confident about who they are, that is a lot of discipline in the darkness. A lot. By then ukaona ati Boniface Mwangi anaweza enda nje na afanye ufala, afanye hizo vitu zenye atafanya na bado alie upon any performance na bado airudie. Huyu ni mtu, hakuna kitu unaweza mwambia yenye hajaji.
Ashaji accept.
Kabisa.
Amejikubali bra. So wewe chenye unakuja kusema na kuangalia tu akwele kwa maliza kupiga hiyo kelele. Lakini enda ka comment hapo chini. Nataka hizo reactions.
Can we say that is an example of a healed nigga? Like ashafika growth yake yenye there's nothing you can shame him with. There's nothing you can beat him to, and maybe kifo tu ndo utamuweza.
Yeah, kwanza amefika mahali he makes that pain his bitch. Like it works for him.
Sasa hiyo ndio
that's a proper.
Hiyo ni healing nyingine bado hatujafika. Unasikia hiyo ni healing ya Tanzania, bro.
But unaona hiyo unajua hiyo has nothing to do with healing because even a wounded person and hata mtu venye tu nilisema a narcissist, if your coping mechanism, maybe you grew up in an environment whereby narcissism is what got you out of that environment. So meaning that's all you know that can protect you. it doesn't mean umeheal. It just means you don't care whether people call you a narcissist or not. You're okay with it. So you'd rather harm other people to stay okay. You, for as long as you're okay. Would you call that healing? Because ukiangalia kama hiyo tukichukua hiyo kitu ya Boniface Mwangi, let's put it in the same box na ile topic ya performance. So meaning Boniface Mwangi is not doing anything as what he is saying. Venye paka amebrandiwa kama activist, he is the example of an activist. But if an activist means being selfish, then si tumekuwa tukidanganywa about being an activist then.
Sana.
Lakini pia si ukumbuke tulisema ni aje mtu anachagua life yake na unaishi. Ukiamua kuwa mbaya, ukiamua kuwa kuvurugana na makarau, activism, hivyo ndo unafaa kuwa. Remember also the free will of choice.
Healing Rafi, na nimerepeat. Healing is about progression. Healing is about growth.
Correct. It's progressive.
Unanielewa? So wewe mwenyewe unaweza decide saizi, mi choice yangu ni kuwa watu, choice yangu ni kurepo watu. Would you say you've healed?
Iwezi.
Unanigea?
Ndio maana nilikuwa nakwambia
lazima you made a choice either way, bado you have made a choice.
But sasa,
so if there's no growth, it's just a repeated pattern expecting a different thing. I think kuna msemo kama huo.
Yes.
Stupidity is repeating the same thing and expecting different results.
But now we have not agreed on what the methodology of parenting will be. Unaona? And we have not agreed on kwamba all that parenting, all those parents did of millennials. You say hatuwezi ongelea Gen Z. But pia Gen Z walizaliwa na wazazi wetu. So even them are part of the same type of parenting.
But hiyo tuliagree, Rafi. Tulisema, focus on yourself. Then kutoka hapo, wewe kuwa huyo mzazi mwenyewe has become a better version of yourself. Then maybe 3 generations down the line, if you as work, then share with people. You can even start your own school.
But like, how will
hakuna mtu saizi hauwezi kuja uambie mtu venye anafaa kuishi maisha yake. Saizi huwezi kuja uambie mtu venye anafaa kuparent. It's all about that person to back up their choice. If they can back up their choice, then they can share it. Like, let's take for example, let me use Amerix. Amerix akianza kuongea, Amerix had embodied who he is. He wasn't just talking about, oh guys, don't do this, don't do this. He was not doing what he was telling people not to do. The people wenye walikuwa wanamsikiza wangekuja paka wanaleta results zao kwa like by hapa na iliwaka. You know,
so can
he's embodied that side.
Kidogo kaka.
So if he's embodied that and it brings growth, then you can sit back and say that is a healed version of that person.
What is acha nikuulize kakangu, hii healed version ambayo maybe tumeembody at a certain period of time, how sure are we that that version will not change, let's say 5 years later? Leo tunasema a form of way of thinking is the healed way of thinking. Tuseme a form of way of parenting is the healed way of parenting. The same way labda wazazi wetu walikuwa nafikiria. What guarantees that hii kitu haitakuja change tena 5 years later when there is another stimulant, another influence or another exposure to another form of parenting? Ndio naambia we can't go with communal parenting. We can only go on individual.
Wacha nikujibu hiyo before ujaribu kuforce answer yako.
Okay.
If saizi tufuate method ya Baiko. Halafu ifail by next year, amata this same year ifail. We will drop it and take another one. Bro, we can decide and pick dynamics paka tupate ile yenye ina work.
So
if we decide to go in a community way, then a community can sit down and decide, we as a community, this is how we want to raise our children.
Do you feel like
then come up
swali langu kakangu ni, for us to change a system, it must be broken somewhere, sindio? Do you feel like or like na majority of the parenting yenye imefanyika, do you feel like it is a broken system, like they didn't hizi results zenye tunaona sahi ni bad parenting and we need to overhaul the whole system? Like, is there something we can borrow from the old system that can come into this new system of parenting that we are aspiring to tuseme? Is there something we can borrow from that old system? Kwa sababu not all of it ilikuwa mbaya. Maybe the emotional aspect ilikuwa mbaya because they never connected us emotionally like that, but the providence was there. Sindio? The schooling was there.
So the idea,
Mm.
the idea first of all is to redefine everything. Then once you've redefined everything, integrate what still aligns with you at this moment. Because hiyo ndio growth. Growth haimaanishi ati when you break this cycle that you become a totally new person.
Yeah.
Growth means you integrate the things that were working before and drop the things that were not working.
Yeah.
Si ndio?
Ni kweli. Hapo tunagree.
Kwa hivyo hiyo ndio growth. So meaning inafaa kuwa si kukaa na kuanza kuangalia hii na waki, hapana. Let's just redefine the whole thing.
Hapo ndio sasa rabbit hole iko.
Let's just redefine the whole thing. Tusiseme ati hii ilikuwa sawa. Let's go by the average. Tuseme as it is right now, shit is fucked up.
And
as it is right now, shit is fucked up.
And
so how do we go?
And we unaona hao wazazi walikosea wapi? They are number one biggest mistake.
Hao wazazi hawakukosea kitu. I explained. You see, and I'll keep on saying, maybe people don't understand what a transitional period is. A transitional period ni ile yenye mnatoka from a solid structure. The solid structure can no longer hold itself. So now there's so much questioning about it. It has to be dismantled.
What is the solid structure? What makes
the
it
solid structure? Wazazi wetu walikuwa kwa solid structure.
Kama gani?
That's why, like, community, raising children, by like using the community to raise children.
Okay.
No. There was that. So a lot of laws zilikuwa zimepangwa based on a community. Naona ilikuwa nilisema when a woman was a single parent, what would happen? There are laws within the community that would protect her. When a man was a single parent, there were laws within the community that would also, in the sense of the children would be raised. See, tumekuwa tukisema like mtoi anakam na sahani, like we've grown up knowing that, like a child will come with their plate. That was a community thing. But now our dads entered the nini of waliingia time ya era ya industrialization. Rural urban migration. Rural urban migration created individuality and broke the community. So when it created the individuality, we still went ahead with the rules of the community, yet people are living as individuals. So it doesn't make sense.
But see, that's part of evolution, bro. That's part of evolution.
So if it's part of evolution, it's not part of evolution if we are still using a system that is not where we are. That is not evolution. That is just stupidity.
But you're saying this system created like non-functional kids, indio? Like their system brought the problems that we as parents are having now, ama?
What I am saying is they used the same system of a community while bringing us up individually.
And do you feel like now they are bringing hapo ndio najaribu kukulizia my brother. Do you feel the way they brought us up was wrong in some way? Like if we are going to change a system, we must point to a problem. Ndio hiyo nakuuliza. How did they bring us?
Nimekueleza kaka, there's nowhere our parents did wrong. Our
Sasa
parents
why are we changing
did everything. Ngoja. Na usikize tafadhali. there's nothing wrong that our parents did. Our parents raised us with the information they had.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay. So far?
So it would be wrong to say our parents raised us wrong. Okay. Move ahead. Mahali tumefika, it is also very okay to tell our parents that parenthood, as much as you people did it, it's not working right now because you people didn't have the information we are having right now. It doesn't mean you people were wrong. You just didn't have the information we have right now.
Which
so with the information we have,
how in terms of parenting now, like now we have new information on how to parent kids, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Like you can homeschool.
Okay.
You can co-parent.
But even back then, these are things that were happening. Like which new information, Mangiti, do we have now that our parents never had back then?
Let me give you one.
It revolutionized the way we parent.
Let me give you one.
Ngoja. And Rafi, ndio maana nakwambia hakuna, by the way, hata usikizi. Hakuna kitu yoyote wrong wazazi wetu walifanya.
Okay.
You just be present in your reality right now. Your reality right now, you are an individual.
Okay.
Sindio? You can't come and say, this is how a man is. Who taught you how to be a man?
I could have learned something along the way. Maybe my father, maybe other men who are in my life.
What makes it standard?
How many men are complaining about their situation?
Me, I was referring to something, Mangiti. If we are to revolutionize,
I'm trying to bring you. Saizi nikwambie, hakuna mtu atakuja akwambie venye ya kukua parent. That's why I keep on insisting. Rafi, si ujijue so that you can come up with your own way. It is very okay to also come up with your own way, and then if it works 3 generations down the line, come and tell us. Ama? Because you have proof. You can say, hey, by the way, you know what? Me, this is the method I used.
But
like, that's what a transitional period is. Like right now, a lot people are trying out a lot of things. We are in an era where stupidity earns you millions. Clout makes you a millionaire. Do you think this would have been working in our parents' time? It won't. So senye umekaa hapo, like hata tukitumia tu Boniface Mwangi kama example, ukikaa hapo useme venye Boniface Mwangi ni weak, venye Boniface Mwangi is a liar and all that bullshit. And yet when you look at Boniface Mwangi, his children are going to
you can't
good
say,
schools.
You can't say ako hivyo kwa sababu he's playing.
No, you can. You're also allowed to give your opinion based on what he's doing.
And then you know something else. If the masses are also collecting the same information, you now if you get it, people are coming to the same conclusion and be like, this one has been able to tap into it and make it work for him. Already what washanza could notice there is a change. That people are now making it work for themselves.
Mi kile nilikuwa nauliza, if you are discussing about new way of parenting, unaona, like we have to change the way we have been parenting kids. That's where this whole conversation is coming to. Sindio, like there was a way kids were being parented, and now we have to create a new way.
We don't have to. It's not a we. It can be
you. Okay, come up. It's a you. It's not even a we.
Okay.
I said
okay.
Rafi, ngoja kwanza wewe rudi kwa ulikuja uliagree. We all need to focus, right? Ngoja.
Hii swali sijaelewi ndugu yangu.
You agreed. Huielewi kwa sababu hutaki kusikiza.
Sijaiweka yani. Sijai anyway.
Bro, we agreed kila mtu anafaa kujifocus, si ndio? So hiyo swali unatuuliza, mbona unatuuliza? Wewe si tuambie yako.
Si mimi nishaambia yangu, wewe ukasema hiyo haipo.
Hiyo ni repeated pattern.
Lakini sasa kama hiyo repeated pattern ndo yangu.
Probably you need now
so basi wewe chenye ufanye, wewe
repeated pattern
ngoja. Sasa ndio tunasema hivi, then you have no new information to introduce to this new parenthood conversation.
Sasa hii new parenthood ni nini exactly? That's what
ndio sasa wewe kaa chini uone conversations zikiendelea, mali tutapata hiyo answer. Ndio juu hakuna hati mahali imeandikwa.
And
Again I repeat,
Ni
it's a
kuonyesha another
transition
different
period.
parent.
There is no right way, Rafi.
apart from
Wachana na
just
sasa,
your
being
way.
yes,
present
wachana
to-
na hiyo.
Mhm.
Now let me tell you another one that I actually there's a group of people, they might be religious or not, but they choose to, depending on the group that they've formed, they don't even educate themselves, they educate others. And they watch, like they take care of kids that have no relation to, and make sure that, they give them the opportunities to be better people within their society with no anything in return to them or legacy or all that. This is something that is there. People who have intentionally chosen that for them, because they have the capacity and they have the finances and all that, they impact somebody
so they
else.
have chosen.
That's also part of a new parent. That's a new dynamic of
Mimi
parenting.
si katai, but also this parenting of choosing to be present is also a form of parenting.
It is, but so that one is what Jesus was trying to say is you have chosen to keep at the same trend, but
Of being present.
But it's,
What are we disagreeing on?
Look at it like
Unaona?
this way. Look at it like a river.
Mimi
The way it
nauliza,
flows.
what
I
aspect
think-
So
of
it's the way I would go and introduce a bold, but river haija change direction.
I was asking.
Isn't it?
Unajua
I was
Rafi,
asking what
I wanted to ask this question
Maybe
like,
Rafi Masa
lakini-
hutaki tu kufanya shadow hapa. Wewe mwenyewe hutaki kujiangalia. Uone if you can come up with a new information.
Mimi nilikuwa
Ni
nauliza
hivyo.
what aspect of parenting yenye tuseme yenye nimesema yenye tuseme unaweza kuwa unapinga yenye uagree nayo.
But you yourself said it yourself.
Ndio nimetoka
Which one?
kukuambia.
Wewe mwenyewe umetoka
I'm saying this.
kutuambia you're using the same format the parents are using, but then wait. You're only introducing what you didn't get to see.
Yes, see that's taking
So
an
it's
old
the
formula
same.
and
Unaona?
adding
No, it's the same.
Sasa,
new.
hapa ndio
You're just
let me land you all of you na kitu moja. Unaona, assumption is a very bad thing or a dangerous thing. When unataka kuchukua danger ni venye unataka. Me, danger is fun. Don't know danger to someone else what it is. But change does not have to be bad. That you are changing because of bad thing.
We have to know what we are changing.
No,
What
listen,
are we
listen,
changing?
Rafi. Unaona? Yes, you know exactly what you're changing.
What?
But you're not changing it. Unaweza improve pia. That is also change. You can improve something that was there. For example, we unasema ati because I remember you said that for your parents walikuwa hands off.
No, I didn't say that. I said I will take from what I never got. Yani ile lesson yenye sikufunzwa na mzazi wangu yenye naona ingekuwa beneficial kwangu.
Lakini wewe
Whether
unafunza.
ni seremala, whether ni ku
Ndio
brickmanship.
nakuuliza. Sasa wewe unafunza mtoto wako.
Si ndio?
Sasa si ndio hiyo sasa wewe ni hands on.
Si ndio hivyo?
From a hands off approach. Unaona? You're improving that. Na umesema vizuri sana. Sisi tumegrow, tumefika hapa tunaongea. And kidogo tu
But you're
kidogo tu
assuming kuwa they were also hands off.
no kidogo Rafi. Unaona? Unakuja from a point whereby it was not happening, right?
No, specific, skizeni. Mimi sijui kama tuna yani nasema there are things that you might not have learned from your parents that you can do for your child and teach to your child. Unaona?
So you do them to yourself, Rafi. Do them to yourself. Then your child.
Sinishajifundisha.
Then basi mtoto wako ataziona.
Number 3. Mimi
Sasa
hapana,
you're
yangu
not
ni
getting.
niko na specimen ya parent.
Mtoto wako
Unaona?
hasikizi. Children don't listen.
Nani
Children
amekwambia
observe.
bro? Nani amekwambia they listen and
children-
they also observe bana? Kwani mtoto nikimwambia
Bro,
acha
children-
hatanisikia?
Mtoto anakusikiza juu unasema vitu lakini
Bro,
haelewi kenye
anakusikiza.
unasema. Anaona
Mtoto
kenye
yule
Every time a child
unafanya.
relates to you, it's maybe akienda
You want
kufanya
to
the
tell me
opposite.
watoto wenu hawasikizi they only observe, they don't listen?
For a child that
How
is
does a child learn without listening?
0 to 1 years, how do they
Yes.
know to do what
Do
they are
you know
doing?
the only time kids are cognitive of what their actions are is from 8 years?
Now that is cognitive. I'm talking about listening.
Listening now, let me shock you another thing. Mtoto
Rafi.
ana learning after akidunda. Because you tell them don't do this, they do it.
Ndugu zangu, tukisema we are going to change a system, let's say like no reform, no election, we see like this system has been broken. Like we are talking about our parent system, the way they raised us is broken somehow. That's why even individualistic, I need to change that system. Sawa, maybe kile Dizo anasema ni wewe as an individual ndo unafaa kujua ni nini unafaa kuchange. Okay, hiyo neza agree kuwa there's nothing collective. Maybe mimi ile swali nauliza ni what can we collectively change? Sawa. Individually.
But hiyo tumekujibu, utaki kuchukua hiyo hiyo jibu. Mimi nimekwambia
nishichukua kitambo.
Si ndio bado unauliza? Because the answer is very simple, Rafi. Let me give you an example of a thief. There's one thief mwenye taiba na ajifiche, a blend in na nyinyi. And then there's one thief mwenye taiba na awaonyeshe yeye ni mwizi. Nani ndio kuja na kuwa celebrated?
Mwenye atakuonyesha yeye ni mwizi.
Mwenye atakuonyesha. Bro, it doesn't matter who you become, Rafi. It might be so bad to the society, but if it is working for you and you embody it, that is what your son is going to copy.
But that is living in an individualistic world whereby you don't care about consequence or anyone else. This life I came to live for me. But
for you to do that is because you care about the consequences.
Hapana.
You've chosen to live. You've chosen to live a honest life.
Bro, it's
meaning if anything happens to you, you're not going to blame anyone. You're going to take responsibility and accountability.
And what happens to your victims? What happens to your victims, Kakangu? Because you can't
Who gives a shit about the victims? Again, you're not focusing on yourself. Rafi, for as long as you are honest with yourself, if you are wrong to the society will eliminate you. If you bring growth to the society will celebrate you. It's as simple as that. You want to control the narrative.
But you have
Why
to.
don't you focus
You are a
on
master
yourself
of your own narrative.
And then you become that. No, you can't control someone else's narrative. When you are a master of your own narrative, then leave your child out of it.
Apana.
If you are the master of your own narrative, leave your child out of it.
Your child, bro? It's not. Why is it called your child?
Because of ngoja
It's not called a child, bro. How can you leave your child out of your nurturing and out of your...
They are your child because you chose it. Ulisema
yes.
Ini action yako, consequence yako.
And that choice comes with consecutive choices.
No. Ngoja Rafi.
Kwa baba haiishi the conversation. You have to choose to teach.
No.
It just doesn't stop from mimi nilichagua kwa baba ya huyu mtu na hivyo ndo inaisha. You have to choose to be in that person's life. You have to choose to impact that person with knowledge. You have to choose. You have to. It's not a must.
You can still make the choice of not being
there. But why are we looking down upon
the people who choose? Focusing on yourself. Focusing on yourself is choosing to bring growth in your child.
It is just a different
that
choice.
That is what you don't want to accept. No, Rafi.
Mimi nime-accept kuwa kufocus on yourself, but it's not, focusing on yourself is not exclusive to not doing other things as you focus on yourself, bro. Hakunanga mahali ya tu
kufocus. Who said about any, wewe, Rafi unajua maana ya kufocus on yourself?
Ndiyo, nimekuelezea. You can look at growth areas emotionally, financially. Nimeeleza before, umeniuliza swali na nikaijibu.
So if that is the case, ni wapi hapo mahali umeacha mtoto wako? If let's say you're focusing on yourself to be mentally safe, to be emotionally stable, to be financially stable, to be all that, ni nini mtoto wako atakosa?
Hakuna kitu atakosa. Lakini haimaanishi.
So mbona tu usijifocusie on again, unaona?
Lakini sorry,
wewe ni hapo part pa accountability tu ndio hutaki.
Si hivyo kaka.
Why don't you just do
Does
that?
It mean focusing on yourself cannot go hand in hand with doing these fatherly things? Hiyo ndo swali nauliza.
But who said focusing on yourself is dropping fatherly things?
Okay.
Who said that? Because I'm not understanding why you keep on, like, unaona nikaa mtu akiambiwa focus on yourself, disconnect from people. Bro, focusing on yourself is creating a long-lasting image of who you are. An image that is sustainable. If your son kama anaweza kaa akuwe, hata akipelekwa mahali aambiwe ufanye hivi fanya hivi fanya hivi, na ana believe yani budake, by the way, budake ndio everything. Unadhani huyo mtu yeye anaweza kuwa swayed other way? Haezi. Na si ati ulienda ukamwambia dadi usifanye hivi, umuonesha tu mtoto wako. Ni kama, let's take simple things, how you talk to strangers, how you talk to your wife, how you talk to your friends. Hivyo ndio venye mtoto wako anaona. Kwa hivyo mtoto wako akienda nje kutukana, swali yako itakuwa gani? Dadi, hiyo umeona wapi? Unaona? Because si ati hata nataka kukupiga, ni mali mimi siko hivyo. So maybe kuna mtu mwingine una copy, ni poa nikijua umeitoa shule ama umeitoa wapi. But kuna wengine utapata mimi yenyewe kama budangu, by the way, mimi budangu ongeleshaji watu hivi. Unapata by the time mtu huyu ana grow up akiwa sane, akiwa conscious, then they embody the positives that were from you.
Yeah.
Not because you told them, because they saw them in you. You lived them. If Rafi umeamua wewe si muongo, kila time chenye unamwambia ndo chenye unafanya. Umeonyesha mtoto wako consistency. Umeonyesha mtoto wako discernment. Wewe si like as in you don't react. You step back and look at things. If let's say even ndo venye umeshinda ukionyesha mtoto wako, what are the chances of your kid being a liar?
Few.
Una get? Si ati kuna wengine hawatakuwa liars. Kuna wengine tu bado tu
watakuwa tu makurutu.
Bado tu watakuwa tu makurutu.
Fruit fell away from the tree.
High chances ni you're saying imekuwa ikisema the apple doesn't fall far away from the tree, ama ni the mango ama whatever. Charity begins at home. Hizo ni nini? Ni si ati ni vitu unafundisha mtoto wako, ni vitu unaonyesha mtoto wako. Una get? So being hands on doesn't mean dadi hiyo ni mbaya ama kumuongelesha. Hapana. Being hands on ni ile hata mnaweza take a walk na mtoi wako na maybe mnaenda naye kinyozi, aone tu venye una interact na mwenye na kunyoa, aone venye una interact na. So that's focusing on yourself, meaning hakuna mtu mwenye umeacha. You haven't disconnected from anyone. You just want to be from a place whereby you are not reacting. You are responding.
Wewe unacheza kama wewe tu. And hizo was sijui ni aje umebebwa na upepo. Nimesikia upepo.
Ako baharini.
Ala.
Hapo bro ume
Rafi kidogo tu. You know, there's nimekuwa nikiona msee for a long time hapa na jasema kitu yote. Anaitwa Phantom. Are you there? Oh, naambiwa ni sister yake. So anyway man, Dizo, mimi nataka tufunge because we are past the 5-hour mark, and you know what the 5-hour mark it means for us. It means we are only 2 hours away from kuchora saba. Na mistake kuchorea saba hapa. Bro, mimi I want to say
umehim sana. Sana
bro. Wow. My friend, me spend mchezo. Be intentional. But the thing is, I think kwenye we miss the mark. And I actually see it is not a point of wrong. We miss the mark on. Hey, and I've been talking about this for a long time. I think I'm starting. Yeah. We have labeled things to a point that the conversation itself becomes a problem. Because when you label something, then it means imekuwa definite. As you are using that example, out of 10 people, 8 people are sick. You come to people and tell them, hey manze, we mbwana, you are white. Na sisi wengine wote tuko black. We uko sawa. Unaona? It becomes now a problem after that white guy trying to say, hey bro, mimi nimekuwa hivi for some time. Mbona nyinyi mko black? what's happening here? That's where we are. Because one, our personal experiences have shaped us the way we are. But not everybody amefika point ya kuelewa those personal experiences. And not kuelewa hizo personal experiences from a point that you need anything from them. No, you're trying to see, hey, nimefikaje hapa. That is the point whereby I think we started this whole conversation. If we went on that rabbit hole, tungeingia mahali ingine very diabolical.
Tumeingia.
Bado. Kwa sababu, now, if I am here, as you're saying, you've grown up. Vizuri sana. Umejielewa. Now I'm an individual. Now you're no longer forced to tell anybody anything. So, when you're telling somebody something, then it means that you want to tell them. As you said, the age of adulthood ni 18 years, ndio? So, meaning, choices zote zenye sasa unafanya ni zako. Why are we getting to a point whereby tunakaa pamoja tunaanza kuulizana, tunajipata tunafanya kitu moja similar, yet we have no basic understanding of where it came from. Tuna manage sasa kwani tunafanya, but we don't want to have that conversation ya tulifikaje hapa, na wewe mbona unaenda hivyo. Na it's not from a point of ati you are wrong, nana wewe mbona unafanya hivyo. As a person individually, why am I doing this shit? For example, I'm going to give you a very small example. Hata kama itakaa story juu tunataka kufunga hapa. One, I remember when I used to hate farming. Kabisa. Yeah. I remember even when I was a kid, man. Kaambia mzae, Mimi, don't take me to the farm. That's your own farm. And my dad looked at me, man. I saw that shit. Ilimuma, lakini akusema kitu. Alisema tu, bro, siseme hivyo tena. Na story kaisha hivyo. Never talked. But now I'm a farmer. Hata kama mimi ni farmer ko imbo, I'm a conman. I am a farmer. And what I slowly got into now I'm seeing the hand that was invisible all along. Amekuwekea structures ukuwe better in whatever way you want. If you find yourself in that direction, bado ni sawa, but amekuwekea structures. For example, the way we say that our parents walitupeleka shuleni nini. For those ones who knew what they were doing, wanajipata wako wanaenda mahali moja, but mwenye amekama na improve your path, unapata. It is not from a point of ati tunakuja saa tukae chini tena tuanze story nini. Bro, tusonge tukiendanga. Unaona? You have enabled me to get here. Why? Because you're intentionally what you're doing. Most of us don't get to that point because one, bado tuko kwa hii point ya blame. But blame is not bad. You're not accepting that. You're holding yourself accountable. The moment you don't hold yourself accountable, then you're not able to witness the pattern. By the time you're witnessing a pattern, it means you have stagnated. If it is truly about growth, then growth means always going forward. If you're not witnessing a pattern, chances are two. Either unaenda mbele ama umekwama mahali moja, bado hujafika mwisho yo cycle. Bado inaendelea tu. Naona? That is where now self-awareness comes in. Self-actualization sasa ni recognize that, bro, I need to do something about this.
Correct.
Nugget. And that is now the purpose of embrace the darkness in the rabbit hole. Pamoja pale na teacher Dizo pale. Kuna vitu na walimu. Kuna mama kanisa. We have been with Mr. Raf mwenyewe.
Yes, I Rasta man. My name is Mr. Rafimas. Big up to the UDEM.
Amen. Na super producer Putin pale. Amengangana bro. This is the first time I have seen Putin run. Ana sweat kwa nyumba iko na AC. Bro, it's some ridiculous shit, man. And none other than Papa Baiko. Man, enjoy your Saturday. Ebu jiulize. Are you a parent because you want to? Ama
you choose
ulijipata?
Hey.
Tuonane.